Ain't about your bread and I can't fuck with ya. I thought you was 100, but you showed me 50. You said you was gonna ride, huh? And the coupe that's parked outside, that bitch looks so expensive. I bet it cut your eye, huh?
Hey man, we got the war in London, you feel me? Put up an Ashton Martin. Wait, is that the right song? I don't know. Let's hop into this though, bro. Active Gang versus 51st.
The UK drill scene has exposed the world to all kinds of crimes going on in the streets of London. One of the deadliest beefs is an ongoing war between two gangs in the borough of Camden, Active Gang and 51st. Let's take a closer look at what's going on. Camden is an area in North London outside of the Regent's Park. It's considered one of London's most modern neighborhoods, and many famous celebrities live there. But over the past few years, it's become a battleground and a war between two gangs. Unlike the US, London don't have as many large national gangs like the Crips and Bloods. Instead, they have small local gangs that are based in certain neighborhoods and often identify themselves by the local postcode. These gangs are also often tied to the local drill scene, and many include popular rappers as members. The main beef in Camden is between two neighborhood gangs, Active Gang and 51st. Active Gang is a group made up of primarily Somali immigrants based in the Edgar Grove estate in Camden. Several popular drill rappers are part of Active Gang, including artists like Suspect, Too Smoky, and T-Scam. They're also allied with other local gangs like FSG, CT1, and NRB. Together, they call themselves 71st. 51st is an alliance of several different groups that are all known to be for Active Gang. They include the Backwater Gang from the Backwater Estate, the QC Gang from Queens Crescent, and Cumbo, a gang from the Regent Park Estate and Cumberland Market. Together, they're known as 51st because of local postcodes in the area and in 5 and 1. They're larger than Active Gang, but both sides have proven to be just as savage. It's not clear exactly where the beef started. Some of them grew up together and were cool before the drama, but at some point, they started having problems and it eventually escalated to violence. According to rumors, it all started over someone getting their watch stolen, but this can't be confirmed. The violence between the two groups started to pop off in the late 2010s. In May 2017, 3 members of 51st were shot by members of Active Gang. Camden police officers were called to the scene of a shooting near Camden Road, but found no victims in the area. About 15 minutes later, they got a call from the staff at the University College London Hospital saying 2 men had shown up with gunshot wounds and were being aggressive. Following the shooting, they managed to run to a nearby hospital to get treatment, but when they arrived, the staff got suspicious and called the cops. Police came to the hospital to investigate, but when the 2 victims realized what was going on, they refused treatment and tried to flee. They was eventually arrested after a brief chase on foot. Another team was also later arrested in connection with the shooting and also refused treatment. All 3 were later charged with suspicion of causing grievous bodily harm with intent for their involvement in the shooting. Not long after, 51st got payback and shot a member of Active Gang in the head with a shotgun. Around 7 p.m. on August 22nd, 2017, police responded to a call about a shooting in the Edgar Grove area. But again, when they arrived, they didn't find a victim at the scene. A witness said she heard 2 loud bangs, screaming, and tires screeching. She looked outside and saw a man who had just been shot in the head. At the time, he was alive, but bleeding everywhere. He then got in a car with 2 other men, and they took off. According to authorities, the man later took himself to the hospital and was supposedly in stable condition. No arrests were made, but police believe it was linked to the triple shooting that happened back in May. The violence only continued after a fight at an Airbnb party that left 1 member of 51st dead after being stabbed 14 times. On February 17, 2018, a 16-year-old girl was having a birthday party at an Airbnb in Kensington. She promoted the party on Snapchat and invited around 50 people that she knew, but word got around town and members of rival gangs showed up. A group of dudes from 51st, including a 19-year-old known as Dottie, decided to crash the party. When they got there, they tried to force their way in and cause damage to the apartment. Some guests ended up hopping over a back wall to escape. They came to the party armed, and Dottie had a knife, but one of his friends had a gun. But somehow, they got Dottie by himself and chased him out of the party. He was chased down the road, but was stopped by a huge group. Once they caught up with him, they stabbed him a total of 14 times. 4 17-year-olds and 2 minors were later arrested in connection with the murder. After Dottie's death, members from 51st got in a stolen BMW and drove around different hoods in London looking for whoever was responsible, but they couldn't find their target. So, when they returned to Camden, they went on a killing spree and took out 2 Active Gang affiliates. The first was a 17-year-old who went by the name AK, who was stabbed to death after being spotted by members of 51st outside an apartment building on Aldenham Street. About 90 minutes later, blocks away from where the first stabbing took place, a 20-year-old named Sadiq was also fatally attacked with a samurai sword on Bartholomew Road. The victim tried to escape in a nearby cab, but the driver refused to take him to safety, so he ended up getting stabbed by the gang multiple times. Police said the 2 stabbings were connected and were committed by the same group of men in the blue van. An 18-year-old was later charged with both murders.
I'm good.
According to his mother, Sadiq tried to call her after he was attacked and left a message on her phone saying, "I'm wounded." She also said he was a good kid who was studying business at Middlesex University and worked part-time at Tesco. Sadiq wasn't the only son she had lost to the knife. Her son Muhammad, aka Mitch, was killed the previous year, and her nephew had also been stabbed to death in 2013. They was all 20 years old at the time they died. Mitch was also killed in the beef between Active Gang and 51st. On the morning of September 4th, 2017, he ran into a dude from 51st named Eric Ekum, aka Flips, on Hampstead Road. They got into a fight, and Flips ended up pulling out a large kitchen knife, stabbing Mitch multiple times. An undercover cop saw it all happen and went and arrested Flips for the murder. He was later convicted and sentenced to 17 years in prison for the crime. All these high-profile killings attracted the attention of the police, who started cracking down on both sides. But that ain't stopped the beef completely. The next attack came in 2019 when an 18-year-old from 51st was stabbed in the head after being ran over. The victim was alone walking by himself along Hampstead Road in Camden before being ambushed around 1 a.m. First, he was knocked over by a car. Then the dudes inside the car got out and started stabbing him repeatedly before getting back in and fleeing the scene. The victim was brought to the hospital with multiple serious injuries, including a stab wound to the head. He survived, but the doctor said he sustained life-changing injuries.
He survived.
Active Gang continued looking for payback and allegedly committed another murder of a 51st affiliate later that year. On April 1st, 2018, a 22-year-old named Calvin Bungisa, aka C-Miz, was murdered by 4 hooded attackers in white masks. C-Miz was chased from Vickers Road to Grafton Road, where he was eventually killed. Surveillance footage from the area showed the suspects fleeing in a dark-colored VW and speeding through a traffic light. The footage also shows them driving to Court Gardens, where police found the car had been set on fire and abandoned. C-Miz's family is from the Congo and fled to the UK to escape the war in their native country. Active Gang dropped a song called Congo, featuring Arms and Too Smoky, which is allegedly a diss of C-Miz. The beef then reached a peak after the murder of a 16-year-old rapper affiliated with 51st named Culprit. On August 12, 2019, a group of 6 Active Gang members was cruising around Fitzrovia and Euston Road in 2 stolen cars. Around 10:30 p.m., Culprit and a group of friends left a restaurant on Bolsover Street. They must have seen the group coming because they ran away and hid in a building near Euston Road. About 30 minutes later, the 2 cars pulled up to an estate on Lumford Street and ran into the buildings looking for Culprit and the rest of the group. Culprit ended up getting cornered by 3 AG members and chased to Munster Square, where they caught up to him and stabbed him to death. Apparently, 2 people held him down, while the 3rd member stabbed him in the chest with a huge zombie knife. Both cars were later found set up.
Bro, what the fuck is a zombie knife? Nah, y'all, bro. UK got it, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. Love y'all, God bless you, and I'm finna see y'all, bro.